All right, what's up, everybody? Wraith Realm TV. So, real quickly, guys, I fell asleep last night. I was exhausted. My co-host was exhausted. We were all exhausted. By the time AEW went off the air, I was just so tired. I just went and cleaned up my kitchen and I went to bed. I was so tired. I was exhausted because the last few days I have been streaming off the chain. I've been doing so many different things with streaming. It's just I'm exhausted. I don't really sleep often, and I needed to sleep. So did Smooth. Smooth's busy with family life stuff, and he's busy doing a million things, and he was also saying he was tired. So that's what happened. That's why we didn't do live stuff. Now, about the unhinged underground podcast and things like that, be prepared for sometimes me doing episodes with somebody or doing it with Smooth. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit of a toss-up. I may have some guests that I do some interviews with from the streaming community of mine and different things like that. So expect wrestling, sports, interviews, things like that from that show. And then I mix it in with our wrestling reviews and everything that I do with Smooth Panna. I'm working on an overlay. I got everything happening. Bear with us. Baby steps. And I appreciate all the feedback that we have been getting. Much love. I want to say thank you to Smooth Panna for what he does for me, because he does take extra time because he has a lot of family stuff going on. He takes extra time. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. So I want to get all the thank yous out of the way, and thank you to the streaming community of mine, and thank everybody for just being so kind to the both of us and just loving what we're putting out there. And we try our best. We try to keep things fun for you guys, things on topics and fun things like that. So anyway, AEW Dynasty was a great show. I was very, 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 very pleased with Tony Khan and AEW. Look, like I said, you could be a WWE fan all you want. You could say WWE is doing great shit. I feel, in my opinion, WWE is going backwards. They are digressing by the day. They are not giving you storylines. They're not building up anything that's worth the damn. And Pat McAfee, oh, we're giving you Dodge trucks and stuff like that, but makes no sense. But you're wearing WWE merch. You make no sense. And Roman Reigns taking takes saying, oh, well, the wrestling industry, there is no competition for us. So out of touch, so out of date. He doesn't realize that AEW is kicking ass, and AEW is now starting to become on the rise. And now they're thriving. See, now they're thriving. I don't want to hear from anybody else anymore telling me, oh, it's WWE. No. There is competition. It's called AEW. And by the way, to all the people that said TNA, fuck out of here. TNA is a joke. TNA is WWE Light, and I don't want to hear from each and any one of you anymore going forward at TNA's competition. No, TNA's pulling they're pulling their wrestling talent off of shows. I don't want to hear from anybody saying that shit. And they brought EC3 to get no reaction, zero reaction. I don't want to hear from you guys about TNA anymore, how great they are. No, they're probably number 4. Their NWA level's bad. And I don't want to hear Carlos Silva, fuck him. I don't want to hear about that guy, because that guy ain't an owner. That guy's whatever. I'll kiss WWE's ass, and I'll kiss the brass ring of Artie Emanuel. I'll do whatever they want, but I won't give what the fans want. And that's what WWE's doing. That's what AAA's doing right now at the moment. So I don't want to hear from any of you. And I have a feeling TNA will be bought out by WWE. And I don't want to hear from any one of you anymore in comment sections or anything. TNA took courage. No, they didn't. I don't want to hear that. Anyway, we got to get into this because we got to talk about it. Alex Windsor, Marina Shafir, and the kickoff show. Jack Perry, Mark Davis. I'm going to tell you, the kickoff show was really good. And we got Camille back. You know what? Bravo, AEW, bravo. They know when to bring a character back, and it's been a long time since they've had Camille on the show. Now book Camille like a monster. Please, for the love that's holy, have her win the TBS belt. Have her hold it for a while. Reward her for being on the bench for too long. You put her on the bench, we all know why. Treat her like $1 million so she stays with the company. Again, like I said, build her, build Lena Cross, build Megan Bain. This is what you should be doing, AEW. Then bring in Mercedes Moné back. Maybe a Britt Baker behind that. Now you got Ishida coming back. Riho probably coming back on Visa stuff. Then you have all this different stuff happening. Oh, man. Look, I'm going to say this. WWE's women's division, eat your heart out because AEW's coming for you. I'm just saying. Same with Kevin Knight winning the TNT championship. Man, chef kiss to that. Kevin Knight's worked his ass off. He is great shit. He reminds me of Leo Slater, but a little smaller, but better. And to me, this is what you should be doing. You should be building around Kevin Knight. You should be building kind of a little mini X division for that TNT belt. I think, look, I like Kyle Fletcher. I love him to pieces. But when Kyle Fletcher comes off his devastating injury and he comes back, you thrust him into that main card division because at that time, Will Ospreay will be your champion. I know he's going to be feuding, continuing with Jon Moxley because that match didn't end the way I thought it should have ended. And I think a lot of people feel that way. But one hell of a match. That match went on for way too long, but it was action-packed. And you already know that Kenny Omega and MJF, you already know that match right there is quite literally going to happen again and again and again. You know they're going to run that back. That's why they're having Darby Allin run it back. I have a funny feeling that Kenny's going to play a factor in Seattle on that one on Wednesday. I just have a funny feeling on Breakin'. I know they're going to do something of the range on Wednesday with Darby Allin to where he wins the belt and Kenny's going to be the thing. And then Kenny and MJF will probably run it back. I'm assuming that's what they're going to set up for, somewhat of a running it back. El Idolo, look, I'm going to be honest, Andrade's being belt like $1 million, to be honest with you, but him losing to Darby Allin made sense. And I know some people are going to say, well, look, at the end of the day, it made sense, it works, and it'll be great. You know what I mean? El Idolo will have other chances. I think he can go into CMLL and win their belt, come in and do something with that belt within AEW too. El Idolo for TNT championships. There's so many different things you could do with El Idolo. For instance, he beat Jack Perry, national champion, right? You can have that be a thing between him and El Idolo and have El Idolo go over. Tommaso Ciampa and Rouge for the gauntlet. Like I said before, it went to Kevin Knight. It was perfect. Look, what are we doing with Tommaso Ciampa? I get the vision, what they're doing with him. They're building him up in Ring of Honor right now. I see the vision. I see what they're trying to do with that. But before somebody said, oh, he should be on main TV, you still got to build up Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor is its own entity, and now it's being put on my AEW. So, and by the way, my AEW, by the way, like, they were having issues, I guess, with the stream and shit like that because there's so many people going to it. If you had a VPN, it's literally like $20 a year or something like that. It's like outrageous, like, and you get the pay-per-views and everything. It's what the WWE Network used to be, and you're getting all the tape library and everything, including Ring of Honor stuff. It's just going to get better and better and better. And Tony Khan did say in the media scrum that he's going to be adding partners to it, which is going to be a beautiful thing. Things that WWE used to be about. Then you have Tankla and Jamie Hayter. That match was also really, really good. Again, Tankla's your future. Tankla just resigned. You can't have her lose a belt. Jamie Hayter's been here way too many times. Let's just keep it for real here. Jamie Hayter's been here so many times and lost. There was this one move that she did, like it was like a V trigger, and I was like, oh my God, Jamie Hayter's concussed, and this is going to be that. And Tankla did win that match. The Dogs, look, I don't understand. You gave them the trios belt. You signed them for big money to be there, and then you have them lose to the conglomeration. I get that we bought back Kyle O'Reilly, and I get it. Did they really need the belts? This was the one downside that I complained about, is why do you need to give them the belts here at this moment? But I understand it at the same time because it's typical Tony Khan. And then we get to MJF versus Kenny Omega, the tag team title match. I thought they were gonna have Christian and Adam Copeland go over. They kind of, like, through the promos in the early show, the 0 hour, they kind of teased, like, they were showing off some WWE footage, it looked like, or something like that. They showed off something with them holding belts in the early on career. I don't know if they're setting this up for Double or Nothing and they want it in a bigger arena like Arthur Ashe in New York. I kind of get where they're going for with this. Maybe they run it back. But again, you made Adam Copeland look, I don't know, weak. It was bizarre. The camera angle was bizarre. I get why they had FTR win it because they got to kind of fit now. They lost, the Young Bucks lost, and then the Young Bucks won against Okada in that, so they got to kind of fit it in there. And I understand that at the same moment that I'm like, okay, so you're going to have a three-way at Double or Nothing now. And then you're probably going to have Christian and Christian and Adam Copeland going over because the Young Bucks, how many more times do they need to hold the belts? You know, they were Ring of Honor champions recently. Then you had them come back to AEW after a long spurt on the bench or taking a break because they're on like a Brock Lesnar type deal where they can show here and there. Kenny Omega's kind of on a Brock Lesnar contract where he could show up here and there. My thing is Kenny Omega's got some MJF problems that he's going to have to go solve. And then Okada and Kadeshita or Kanesuke Okeshita are going to run it. You already know it's going to be for the All-Atlantic title or international title, whatever. It's going to be one hell of a match. You know it's going to blow the roof off. You know they're both going to tear it up. And you know Kadeshita is going to go over because they really need Okada to be up there in the main. He needs to be up there fighting for main titles. I'm tired of, I've said this with Smooth Pana now, and I'm going to say it again. They have to have Okada now fight for main belts. You can't keep holding him like a treasure and not do anything with him. It's like you're holding Kobe Bryant on the bench and doing nothing with him for 6 months. You got to run it with him now at this point. You got to have him lose that belt. Have Kanesuke Okeshita run something. They have too many belts, but the problem is with that is they brought in the national title, which could be their version of the cruiserweight division if they wanted to go that way. They can also do with the TNT belt a cruiserweight division, or they could treat the national title as the next division title. Another thing is you had Chris Jericho put over Ricochet. Good job on Chris Jericho's part. Now, my thing is Chris Jericho just here to job out and lose. Is that what we're going to do with Chris Jericho? You made the list and then lose. To me, Chris Jericho, I said this with Smooth, and I'm going to say this now. Chris Jericho, mid-card title, mid-card title, mid-card title. You don't need him to be in your main division. You don't need him up there in the upper echelons. That's for the Darby Allins. Jack Perry's coming soon. Jack Perry's probably going to move up there. And then you're probably going to see a Jack Perry World Heavyweight run. David Finlay's up there. Chris Jericho's had his time in the sun. But I think where Chris Jericho could definitely do well in is Ring of Honor, like, peer title, TV title. You could build him like a Samoa Joe because you're going to have Samoa Joe coming back, right? So you're going to build your talent up like that. And that's good for AEW. Again, that's a good thing for AEW. And I'm just going to tell you guys this. Look, AEW, yes, they have too many titles. Yes, they're not the perfect company in the world, but they're on the rise. And it's starting to show in arena. When you saw their arena, there was no tape around the seats or anything like that, or a veil over the seats. You could tell people are going there and their ticket prices are fair. They're not overcharging. They're not throwing a bunch of sponsors at you. They're not telling you how to feel. AEW is just literally right now is the company to be. I'm sorry. I am so sorry to say that. And if people get upset and it's not complete cinema and all that, I don't care enough to care, but it's the truth. It's not just me saying that. I'm watching big name YouTubers that cover this shit for a living are sitting and ranting. JD from New York, to be in particular, are fake heat and fake rage over what WWE is doing. And you got a lot of channels that are that way, trying to pump up the WWE product and fully knowing that there's another product over here doing it better right now. AEW is the product to be right now. That's why everybody's giving Tony Khan Booker of the Year. That's why you're watching. Casual fans are walking over to AEW, and actually, I've seen it on Twitter, Blue Skies X and all this. They're all saying the same as I'm saying. Wow, why did I sleep on this show? Wow, why is this happening? You know what I mean? Wow, I finally get to see Kenny Omega, and I'm liking it. And you know why? Because WWE is sleeping at the wheel with creative. When you have your owner taking over and putting Pat McAfee in your face, and you have Pat McAfee insulting people's intelligence, or CM Punk insulting people's intelligence when they're shelling out TKO merch, or talking about Saudi Arabia when they are making a shit ton of money, people are going, you know what? I'm done with the product. I'm done with my. People are not stupid nowadays. It's kind of like right now what's going on with video games. It's kind of like what's going on with the PC industry with AI pricing and things like that. People are just over it. You can't keep sitting and insulting people's intelligence. People are going to walk off. And when you have Roman Reigns saying, we're the only company, we're the NFL, you are so tone deaf. Obviously, I get why you're doing it, because you have to be, because you're the face of WWE. But again, at the end of the day, it just makes it look bad. It makes you look bad as a company. And that's just my pure opinion on. And I'll say this review. I'll say Dynasty was a solid 8.0 from me all day long. Yes, it was a long of a show. Yes, I enjoyed, most of the show. I thought Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley can kill each other over and over again, and I'd be happy with that. Again, I'm happy with Kevin Knight winning the championship. I think he deserves that. It's well deserved. I think the conglomeration shouldn't have won the trios belts. Chris Jericho, Ricochet. I mean, for Chris Jericho being the age he is rewinding the clock, and he's putting over talent. What more can you ask on a card for? What more can you ask for? And to me, I would rather take this Dynasty card than night 1 or night 2 of WrestleMania at this point. Are you excited for WrestleMania? I'm not excited for it. I'll be watching it because I'm a wrestling fan. But I don't like the fact that my intelligence is being insulted. I don't like the fact that, Pat McAfee's coming out and constantly and to all of you said, to some of you that said, oh, I understand the vision of Pat McAfee. Now, how do you feel 2 weeks in? You're starting to return on it. You're turning on Jelly Roll because you're shitting on it. Why? Because it's insulting your intelligence. That's why. That is motherfucking, and you can't make sense of it. As a wrestling fan, when you can't make sense of the division or the actual story of what's going on around you, at the end of the day, then why are you watching it? You know what I mean? That's what a lot of people are doing. A lot of people are confused because Artie Emanuel, let's keep it real, okay, stepped in and took over. He is now the head of creative now. He's become Vince McMahon 2.0, and it's not working. TKO putting their hands in things in the cookie jar. They're going to learn real quick like Saudi Arabia did. Do you notice Saudi Arabia does not book shows anymore? Do you notice the first few shows of the Saudi Arabia experience has been garbage for WWE? Now you're seeing it. Now you understand where WWE, why Saudi Arabia's way. Okay, we're just going to let Triple H book. And you notice those shows have gotten better over the last couple of years. Some of them not so much as others, but got better. I just think Triple H, and I'm going to say this to be real with you, and I know I'm saying this on an AEW review, but I think the days of Triple H's days are numbered. And I think when you keep losing to AEW, and now NXT is starting to lose to losing to AEW per week, and TNA is upset over AEW running shows alongside them, keep doing it, AEW. Keep running against TNA. I love Carlos Silva kicking and screaming and pouting like a little kid on Twitter. Because you know what? He's doing things that you're not doing, keeping their wrestlers off their product and getting booed for it. EC3 got booed. Why? Because EC3 sat around for 9 years. He should have been in AEW. He should have went to AEW. Should have went to AEW when he was high. His name was higher than lights when he left. He should have left with Jon Moxley to AEW. He went to NWA. His career is in shambles. And then all the scandals with Patrick Clark. Velveteen Dream didn't help either. So I don't care EC3's in TNA. Can care less. I don't think he's threading the needle for them. And I feel sorry because is this the way EC3 gets back to WWE? Because EC3 didn't work the first time in WWE and it won't work again. Just saying. Anyway, my name is Wraith Realm TV here on my More Wraith Realm TV channel. I got a mouth. I have an opinion. I like to say what I want to say. AEW's killing it right now. And you can't tell me any different. Them MLW, man. 1-2 right now. I'm loving MLW. And I'm actually like seeing Gigolo Pro Wrestling. Go figure, right? Vince Russo's product. Yes, it's a plane crash. Yes, but I watch it every week, and I've been enjoying it every week. Because you know why? It keeps me enthralled. Because they're bringing storylines that I'm liking. And WWE don't do that. WWE sits here and insults my intelligence every time they do something. And I do not need to see Pat McAfee on my television. And supposedly now, if Pat McAfee and Randy Orton lose and Pat McAfee won't be around, it's just like, but you just said Pat McAfee, Artie Emanuel said Pat McAfee's going to be on their show for a long time. So it makes no sense at the end of the day. Oh, and by the way, I want to say this: Hannah and Maya's World, good stuff too against the Dominion. They did show out. Minion did win. You're not going to have Cross and Megan Bain lose ever for a while. And it looks like with Camille being back and Willow Nightingale, I forgot to mention that. I think we're going to see the end of literally Willow Nightingale. I think she's tried to heal an injury or a plaguing injury, and she's going to be eliminated and out for some time. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, and I will talk to you soon. See ya.